Now on 8 News at 11, schools named after Confederate leaders. Petersburg considers changing them. Tonight, we'll take you inside the public meeting.
And a USA gymnastics doctor sentenced for sexual assaults.
You preyed on me. On us.
You are nothing more than a disgusting monster.
New details about Larry Nassar.
Plus, a stoplight shootout caught on camera. Children caught in the crossfire.
8 News starts now.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Juan Conde.
I'm Christina Ferrick. Petersburg schools could change the names of 3 schools that are named after Confederate generals.
And tonight, 8 News found the woman who donated $20,000 to fund that potential project. 8 News reporter Aaron Thomas is live in Petersburg tonight with that update. Aaron?
Juan, Christina, folks definitely did not hold back at tonight's meeting, as it was their final chance to weigh in on if these school names should stay or if they should go. Now, school board members say that they have many opinions to take into consideration before making their final decision next month. Dozens of residents came out to speak before the Petersburg School Board about removing Confederate names at 3 schools.
Tell me how changing school names is going to gain these schools accreditation.
Travis Tim says he's against the renaming of A.P. Hill, Jeff Stewart, and Robert E. Lee elementary schools. He says school board members should focus more on student performance.
How about we take the $20,000 and buy these kids some supplies and books so they can learn instead of squandering it away on name changes?
The $20,000 he's referring to comes from this woman. Christina Murray donated the money to the school board to help fund the $18,000 price tag to change the names.
I didn't want the school district to have to worry about the money for the names, because it's a privilege to be able to be part of this historical change.
Those in favor of changing the school name suggested naming them after prominent people who reflect their community.
We have to change these schools, and we need to change them now. If not now, when?
B. Frank Ernest wants the names to stay in place.
I don't see what difference it makes what color our past leaders were or what color the students. Our children can all be inspired by great leaders from the past, and we should let that happen.
Yes, we have a past to go forth from, but we need to leave some of the past in the past and work on the future.
The $20,000 donor says that if the school board decides not to use that money to rename those schools, she'd like to see that money be used for the teachers here in the school district. Petersburg School Board makes their decision on February 7th. Reporting live in Petersburg, Aaron Thomas, 8 News.
All right, thanks, Aaron. And Justin, tonight, the Hampton School Board has just voted to rename Jefferson Davis Middle School. The school will be renamed Caesar Tarrant, a former slave and Revolutionary War hero. He eventually became a free man.
Our Storm Tracker 8 team's keeping an eye on our forecast tonight. Here's a live look across the capital city. Chief Meteorologist John Bernier is here now. So how will the evening unfold, JB?
Been fairly quiet for us, though. A couple of light sprinkles have danced through the area. We saw those on the windshields of the car early this evening, about 8:30 or so. That area is sliding down the southeast of us. It looks a little ominous, but when you look at the live radar, there's just a little band of precipitation, mainly down to the east towards Williamsburg. You may get a couple sprinkles moving down towards the ground. It's pretty dry where you and I are standing right now, so the problem is all this is evaporating as it comes through. Just dipping into the upper 30s off to the west of us. Wyndham, Glen Allen, Ashland, Gayton Elementary, all at 39 degrees, 40 degrees, J.R. Tucker High School. Down south side, we're looking at temperatures right around 40 to 42 right now. Headed down to the upper 20s tonight, looking at a low temperature around 29 degrees. We'll start your day off with sunshine tomorrow. Cool start to the day, a cooler day headed your way for your Thursday. And remember, 24/7, when you are away from the television set and need to check what's going on with the weather, you can always do so with the Storm Tracker 8 app, free for your iPhone and Android device.
We're following some breaking news tonight. Michigan State's president is resigning in the wake of Larry Nassar's sex abuse sentence. Today, the former USA gymnastics doctor was sentenced to 40 to 175 years behind bars for abusing and assaulting female athletes under the guise of medicine. Nassar was a longtime employee of Michigan State. Its president, Lou Anna Simon, who you saw there a moment ago, just stepped down in a wave of intense criticism. Zachary Keach reports from New York.
Larry Nassar entered the courtroom dejected and emotionless. Just before sentencing, he turned to speak directly to his victims.
I also recognize that what I am feeling pales in comparison to the pain, trauma, and emotional destruction that all of you are feeling.
But in a letter written to the court, which the judge read,
"Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned." The stories that are being fabricated to sensationalize this.
Nassar was a highly regarded doctor at Michigan State University and USA Gymnastics who used his stature to prey on young girls. More than 150 women provided victim impact statements in the case.
I can't even comprehend how angry I feel when I think of you.
Sir, I'm giving you 175 years. I've just signed your death warrant.
The court erupted with applause.
At first I was really afraid to speak about it and even let anyone know that this has happened to me, but now I know I'm a survivor.
For the survivors, a move in the right direction.
Gratitude for the incredible army of survivors who rose up in the last 2 weeks to stop the reign of a predator and to ensure a tragedy like this never happens again.
This thing is far from over. There's a civil suit involving more than 100 women against USA Gymnastics and Michigan State University. Zachary Keish, ABC News, New York.
Here at home, new details about what happened to an elderly Henrico woman beaten and left to die in her burning home. 40-year-old Wendell Brownie now faces charges of abduction, assault, arson, rape, and burglary. Investigators say he attacked his 78-year-old neighbor last October. The victim told police Brownie raped her, and when she tried to push her medical alert bracelet, Brownie beat her and set her house on fire. The victim says she can't go back to that home where she has lived for decades.
So 78 years old now, she's got to sell her house and start some kind of life over new, and she didn't want that. She didn't want none of this. So hopefully justice will be served on him.
The victim is still recovering from broken bones, several surgeries. Brownie will be back in court next month. New details tonight after our preschool teacher is shot and killed. Tanique Cushman is charged with conspiracy to commit second-degree murder. Norfolk investigators say Caroline Hendricks was found shot in her car. That was back in December. Police also arrested Edward Shaw earlier this month for second-degree murder and firearms charges.
News where you live in Petersburg tonight, where a 5-year-old boy was let off a school bus without any adult supervision. His mother turned to 8 News for help. Akila Graves was told her son Junior took an early bus home. He'd already been dropped off and walked back to his house by the time she could contact his grandmother. 8 News has learned that violated Petersburg's policy, which states pre-K and kindergarten students have to go back to school if no adult is present at their bus stop.
I cried just thinking about the things that could have happened to him. And if no one was home, my son's only 5. I don't know what he would have done.
In a statement, Petersburg schools say safety is a top priority, and they'll continue to work with parents on transportation procedures.
A former high school track coach pleads guilty to child porn. Carlos Bell coached track in Charles City County. He pled guilty to 10 counts of producing child pornography. Investigators say he coerced 10 children to engage in sexually explicit conduct. Prosecutors are asking for 150 years in prison.
We have new details tonight from the Kentucky school shooting. Video from Marshall High, where 2 students were killed and 14 others injured. Police are seen here leading a student out in handcuffs. They will not confirm he's the suspect, but students say they know this unidentified 15-year-old. Authorities have identified the students killed as Bailey Holt on the left and Preston Cope, both 15 years old.
She called me, and all I could hear was voices and chaos in the background. And she couldn't say anything. And I tried. I called her name over and over and over, and she never responded.
That is the mother of the girl who was killed. Prosecutors say they'll ask a judge to try that unidentified teen as an adult. You're listening to dozens of shots being fired at a stoplight. Children caught here in the crossfire. It's all caught on camera.
Plaza high-speed chase ends in a violent crash. We'll show you what the suspect did when he got out of this car. John?
And a little rain's headed our way over the second half of the weekend, but the rainfall forecast isn't all that much. Enough to make things a little wet over us here, but definitely not a washout on Sunday. We'll tell you all about it coming up in a moment.
You're watching 8 News at 11. It's the news where you live.
Stay with us. Christina, John, and I will be right back with much more.
8 News closed captioning is sponsored by the personal injury attorneys at Emrock and Kilduff. One call, that's all.
Terrifying video from Florida, a shootout at a stoplight. It's caught on camera. The suspects exchanged about a dozen rounds of gunfire, then took off. There was a 2-year-old, also an 8-year-old in that gold Toyota. That was on the left right there. Fortunately, nobody was hurt. Police have arrested one person, but they are still looking for that other driver.
A violent end to this high-speed chase in Arizona. Police trailing a suspect for a traffic violation. TV choppers overhead. The red Jeep accelerates, and then you're going to see it right here. Watch. Runs right into an unsuspecting driver going the other way. You'll see smoke coming off that car.
Oh, no.
The wheels are spinning against that tarmac there.
Oh, no. Head-on collision with that car. Oh, boy. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Head-on collision with that car.
You do
and
see
he's running.
That's right. The driver jumped out and approached some bystanders pretending to be cool. When police arrived, those witnesses pointed him out. You see his apprehension there. The woman in the other car who he hit is expected to recover. Here's an 8 News health alert. Hospitals where you live are seeing an influx of patients, and some don't have enough room. Health experts say the flu is one of the big reasons why. Earlier this week, hospitals in Richmond went code red. That means some city facilities had to send their patients to other hospitals with available beds. Henrico Doctors says they received some of those overflow patients, but have been operating normally. Hospitals across the region are always in good communication.
We report the number of open beds and the number of capabilities that we have each day. We have a web-based system where we're able to communicate with each other, and we can see which hospitals are having issues and which hospitals are functioning normally.
Henrico Doctors tells 8 News while they are operating normally, they'll work with other area facilities if their beds reach capacity.
A D.C. college student has a new idea for detecting drugs in your drink. Dania Sherman created the No Nap. It's the napkin that actually knows. She says if you pour some of your drink on the napkin, there will be a color change next to the drop if there are any drugs in it. Sherman says No Nap tests for at least 26 of the 40 most common date rape drugs.
The owner of this $300,000 Ferrari is suing Marriott Hotels tonight. He claims a valet gave his key to another man who was trying to impress a woman. This happened in Florida. There's the suspect. Levis Miles told police, according to sources, that the valet said the car was his and the ticket was inside. I might have described that badly. This guy, police say, he told the valet that it was his car and the ticket was inside. He claims he's innocent because the valet just gave him the keys.
So is it time to ditch the denim? A new survey shows some adults may be getting too old for jeans. It says the stress people experience while jean shopping is too intense by the age of 53. Once we find our favorite jeans, it's even tougher to give them up. 40% of adults admit to keeping a pair of tight jeans in hopes of squeezing into them once again. So what do you think? Does jean shopping get stressful as you get older? Tell us. Like our 8 News Facebook page and leave your comments there on this post.
If you want to leave a picture of yourself in your jeans, we'll take that too. Time now for another check on our Storm Tracker 8 forecast with JB.
Let's get it, John.
Well, for us here in Central Virginia, some clouds coming by tonight, setting us up for what will be a cooler day tomorrow before we warm right back up into the weekend here across Central Virginia. Watching a disturbance passing by areas off to the north of us, pushing some clouds over us here. You kind of see a little clearing developing off to the west, and there's been a few returns on radar here over us and a couple of sprinkles outside, at least when I was outside a little while earlier. Snow showers quieting down now here up across portions of Pennsylvania into West Virginia. Of course, past couple of days have melted a lot of the snow in the northeast, also broken up ice on the rivers. Connecticut River's got some problems, and we can show you pictures out of Pennsylvania. This is between Wilkes-Barre and Scranton on the Susquehanna River, so that's what comes down and enters the top of the Chesapeake Bay up north of Baltimore. Some areas there, because of these ice jams that are developing, starting to have the risk of flooding. At least one of the small suburbs of Scranton. They have ordered some mandatory evacuations for people along the river, and a couple other places they're kind of keeping their eyes on that situation there. Always a problem when you get a rapid melt, where you get these jams that break up and then kind of form themselves into another dam. That creates problems with some flooding along the rivers. Here at home, got a few sprinkles down to the southeast of us, down towards Langley Field and over towards Wakefield right here at the bunker. A couple of light sprinkles reported. That's pushing to the east, out of the way in a hurry. We're still holding at 40 degrees, well above freezing for all of us. The cool spots are down, as you can see, in the mid to upper 30s right now. As the clouds part later tonight, we drop down to about, let's say 29 degrees to start off your Thursday. So the way your Thursday shapes up, it's going to be a cooler day. We'll have sunshine, but at 10 a.m. we're only up to 38 degrees, and into the afternoon hours we're only making it up to around 48. Winds, at least for us, will only be out of the north at about 10 miles an hour. So the weather map's pretty easy. Start you off tomorrow morning, sunshine. You see we go through the day. We're fine in the afternoon. Clear skies tomorrow night from 8 p.m. all the way into your Friday morning. This will be the coolest part of this dose of cool air coming in over us. And then as we go through Friday, we're fine through the day on Friday. A nice day in the mid to upper 50s. But by Saturday, start off with sunshine. Here come clouds coming in later on Saturday. Those clouds will allow us to warm up to 63 degrees, but a little rain headed your way on Sunday. And then the temperatures take a little dip again next week. Tuesday could be a little on the cool side, around 43 degrees. And remember to start your day off right tomorrow morning. Get the latest Storm Tracker 8 forecast, the overnight news, breaking news, and traffic with the gang on Good Morning Richmond, beginning at 4:30 a.m.
Thanks, John. Good evening, everyone. I'm Natalie Calabat. Atlanta Braves legend Chipper Jones is headed to the Hall of Fame, a career that hit the ground running right here in Richmond. A look inside is right around the corner. 8 Sports is next.
8 Sports is sponsored by the Haley Automotive Group.
Good evening, Richmond. I'm Natalie Calabat. A new MLB Hall of Fame class has been voted on for 2018. Jim Thome, Vladimir Guerrero, Trevor Hoffman, and one who many are very fondly here in Richmond, Chipper Jones. 8 Sports anchor Chip Rear has more.
Before winning a World Series for the Atlanta Braves, becoming an MVP, and tonight, a Hall of Famer.
It was waterworks galore around the Jones house.
Chipper Jones shouldered expectations.
Number 10, Chipper Jones.
As Atlanta's #1 overall pick, playing for the Richmond Braves in 1993.
You feel the pressure, and I'm sure any #1 pick or first rounder for that matter can attest to that. A lot of people hounding you, a lot of the press, even some teammates.
Putting aside the numbers and the accolades, Chipper's influence and stardom turned the River City into Braves country.
Now, I was born in 1991, 2 years before Chipper Jones came to play here on the Boulevard. And even sharing the same first name, I heard all the stories growing up. And to know, 25 years later, that MLB Hall of Fame career began right here at the Diamond certainly makes it special for Richmond baseball fans like myself. At the Diamond, Chip Rear, 8 Sports.
Thanks, Chip. The Richmond Spiders have picked up the pace, winning 3 straight games for the first time this season, and we're seeking their 4th tonight, a Steeltown showdown. Chris Mooney battled for career win number 250. Jumping right into the action, Spiders had the best hand for most of the night. Off the turnover, Grant Golden throws down the putback. Richmond's largest lead of the second half is 16. It's 50-34 with under 14 to play in the game. The Dukes claw back, and despite suffocating defense from Quan Four, able to tie the game at 68 off Taran Smith's layup. We go into overtime. 35 seconds left in the extra period. The St. Christopher's graduate Nick Sherrod keeping Duquesne at bay on the baseline. He scored a career-high 28 points. The Spiders survive on the road in overtime, 77-73, now 5-3 in the Atlantic 10, having won 4 straight games. That does it for 8 Sports at 11. I'm Natalie Calabat. 8 News returns after the break.
And before we head there, look for some cooler temperatures tomorrow at 48 degrees, actually where we should be as we head into January 25th. But into the weekend, back to the 60s. The problem is a little rain's headed your way. And we'll tell you all about it when we come back.
Watch this and then share it with friends. Ewok? An Ewok?
No.
No, that's the most.
It's a new one, like a pug?
Oh, yeah. Well, what's the name of this?
Pork.
All right, calm down.
it's time to take one final look at the Storm Tracker 8-7-day forecast for you. Now, sunshine will be around tomorrow. It's going to be around 48 degrees. Yes, cooler than the past few days. That's seasonal for this time of the year. But hey, 18 years ago tomorrow, we had about 8 inches of snow here in Richmond. And then we warm up on Friday, 57 degrees. Clouds by later Saturday, 63. Some rain, not a gutter flush or washout on Sunday. And then we dip on temperatures a little bit the early part of next week. It looks like signs, though, at the end of next week into next weekend, things will be turning significantly colder over us here.
Beginning of February. Can y'all believe it?
It's
crazy.
No, the year is flying by.
Yeah,
Time flies when you're having fun. There you go. And we thank you for joining us for fun tonight on 8 News at 11.
Follow us online. More fun on Facebook and at WRIC.com. Have a great night. We're going to wave.